Now, going in, we are one day in here. How do you think the mood is? How do you think things are looking? Your stateside, how's it look from your angle?
Right. Thanks for having me on, Emily. And I think you summed it up exactly right, that there's a feeling of optimism and purposefulness in the White House, that the formula, the approach Trump took with Europe, with Japan, and Indonesia and the Philippines, the U.S. more or less got what it wanted, and it views it's very much in the driver's seat to push the China negotiations in the same way. China's always a bit different. It's always a bit of an outlier in these negotiations, but the Trump team feels very confident that they're going to be able to get what they want out of this deal.
What about the Chinese side going in? What do they have going for it? We had heard about the rare earth materials or the rare earth minerals that was in exchange for, of course, the chip exports. That was kind of something that was announced last week. What does China have going for it going into these talks?
Well, look, I don't think China intrinsically is opposed to adjusting tariffs, but it wants to move slowly, if you will, or incrementally, and it wants to give up as little as it has to give up. But what it values most of all, Emily, is just stability in trading relationships. So it wants this issue settled and behind it. So it has to balance those two goals of saying we don't mind some modest concessions to placate Trump, if you will. But most of all, we don't want turmoil and open-ended conflict in this relationship, because that doesn't help any importer or exporter.
What about President Trump and his offer to freeze export controls? This is being reported by the FT. We've also, of course, heard, as I was talking about, in exchange for the rare earth minerals, China will get the H20 chips from NVIDIA. And then there is this other factor of President Lai Ching-te supposedly was going to be making a trip to Central America. Usually that includes a transit in the United States and being blocked by the United States. How do all of these factors, of course, factor into the bigger picture?
I think both of these are very important signals for Washington to send to China, because what they're saying is this is not a zero-sum game. This isn't all about simply we win on the U.S. side and you lose. You're making concessions and we're not. So Trump is showing, look, he's willing to be a responsible partner. He's not looking for friction. He's not looking to exacerbate things. So blocking President Lai's visit or swing through the U.S. and sending a positive signal on exporting the chips are both, I think, very well received in Beijing and set a good tone for wrapping up these negotiations.
And yeah, according to one tariff simulator, Chinese exports to the U.S. will decrease by almost $500 billion between now and 2027. So if that's the case, what would be the implications for both the U.S. and China? And is that drastic of a decline or collapse in trade a reason why the two countries seem to be going for a more positive relationship now?
No, that's exactly right, that China does not want to be under the gun of these tariffs and wants to work out as much as it can and end up someplace maybe somewhat close to what the EU got or somewhat close to what Japan got, but at least not under these current 50% tariffs, which is, I think, a calamity for them, enormously destructive economically. So it's very more than willing to offer something, put something on the table in order to get some kind of ultimate tariff reduction from the U.S. But I think these negotiations are mostly a pricing mechanism. China wants to give up as little as possible, but wants to get stability back in these relations and wants to get the tariff level back as low as it can. So in my view, I think the negotiations are going to be viewed as positive in terms of tone this time, but I don't think this will resolve it. I don't think we'll come to a final conclusion, so to speak, this round. And I think we'll meet again in a month or two, and maybe that will take us across the finish line.